Cloud DB, shaping your new normal.
Welcome everyone to the 2021 APAC Groundbreakers Virtual Tour by Apaco UC. This year, our event will be the biggest one ever done with 144 sessions, including normal sessions, workshops, and hands-on labs from 100 different speakers over 17 days. Also, it will cover sessions in 4 different languages. Please remember to register to as many sessions as you can. I would like to say thanks to our Oracle user groups and Java user groups that made this event possible, and also to our sponsors, Oracle Groundbreakers, and our main sponsor, Cloud DB. Now for today's session, take your Oracle DBA career to the cloud, Essential Skills and How to Get There by Biju Thomas. Please feel free to write questions at any time during the session by using the chat tab of live webinar in the right bottom corner of your screen. And the speaker will be answering all your questions at the end of the session. If there is any issues during the presentation, please feel free to contact me at any time using the same chat window on the live webinar. Now, without any more delays, I would like to leave you with this amazing session by Biju Thomas. Biju, it's all yours.
Thank you, Francisco. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Francisco, again. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, all around the world. I mean, I know it is 7 a.m. for Francisco in Brisbane, Australia, and some people from the UK must be like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. there, I think, somewhere around that. Anyway, thank you very much for joining this session. This will be a quick 45-minute session, but this will be quick. So the topic is take your Oracle DBA career to the cloud. The reason for this topic is I have many friends who are still a little bit hesitant to try out the cloud, or a little bit scared when we talk about cloud and the cloud databases, especially the autonomous database, thinking that the job is going to go away. So let's see, like my take is the opposite. I mean, the cloud is going to give more opportunities to the DBA, and that is going to make the DBA life a little bit more easier and better. Let's see. I mean, I'm going to give you a few hints here and there, and then you can at the end we'll see if I'm able to convince you or not. Anyway, before I start, let me start with a few introduction about me and the company I work for. So my background is Oracle database. Pretty much last 27 years I've been working with Oracle database, and the last 10 or maybe 12 plus years I've been working with Oracle e-business suite. I work for Data Intensity, and I'm an Oracle ACE director. Nowadays, my focus is more on migrating workloads to the cloud. It's not just Oracle Cloud, Azure, AWS, are all 3 clouds I work with. GCP not yet, because I mean there are some certification issues with there, but people are migrating to GCP. We'll talk about that. I have a blog, bijus.com, and I'm active in social media, Twitter, Facebook, and everything. And there are a few books I published a few years back. They are kind of old now. And Data Intensity is the company I work for. We do have an office in Brisbane, Australia, and an office in Hyderabad, and one in UK as well. And our headquarters is in the US, in Covington, Kentucky. And we manage all complex Oracle workloads on any cloud, delivering high-touch, high-quality service. I mean, that's our motto. That's our mission statement. Right cloud, right licensing, right service. We do manage services, and we do have licensing services as well. And here is a quick pie chart kind of diagram with all of our services. So we do technical and functional managed services. We also have a safe switch we call TCOT, total cost of optimization transformation. Total cost of ownership transformation. That is the safe switch migration to any cloud, the cloud of your choice. And we help you migrate the databases to the cloud. So talk about Cloud DBA. So every time Oracle introduces a feature or some new architecture changes or capabilities introduced, in this case, when we are talking about going to the cloud or the autonomous database, there is a certain level of fear that occurs in the DBA world. I mean, is my job going to go away? Things like that. I mean, that fear is natural. But generally speaking, the answer is always no, because the job might change when 8i came, or maybe don't go that far. When 10G came, I mean, Larry Ellison said they have automated a lot of stuff in the 10G database, and then DBAs are no longer needed. I mean, that didn't happen, but that made a little bit of DBA life easier, especially in tuning the space management and tuning the undo segments and the undo retention, automatic undo. I mean, that helped the DBA plan or not do firefighting quite a lot. So it helped the DBA in 10G when the grid infrastructure and the internet and everything 8.8 10G. So the new features are good. I mean, it just makes the DBAs even better. I mean, that's what is happening. So we have to. My background is DBA, as I mentioned. So we have to look. I mean, how much time we spend each week doing operational, mundane stuff like looking at the backups or worrying about the disk space and things like that. I mean, when you move to the cloud, I mean, some of those worries go away. And new worries come. I mean, so the new worries is an opportunity for us to learn new things and then get ahead of the game and be the cloud DBA and be the expert there. I mean, then you can be the pioneers there, and then start teaching others or advising others and leading that knowledge in the cloud. So here, a quick whatever came to my mind, I was just jotting it down. I mean, the traditional DBA versus modern DBA. Cloud DBA and modern DBA, I mean, I use that word interchangeably. It just means that, I mean, the modern era DBA will be managing the cloud and the databases in the cloud. So in the traditional DBA, in the on-premises world, we plan, install, configure database, I mean, patching, upgrade, migrate database from one server to another server, backup, recovery, I mean, making sure the backups are good, the security we need to take care of, creating users, granting the roles and stuff. Then any performance issues or troubleshooting a problem, I mean, database crashed, I mean, troubleshooting. We have to monitor, make sure everything is up and running, the jobs are working, the processes are okay. I mean, that monitoring, space management is a big portion of on-premises DBAs because it's always hard to get space from the storage admins, and so space management. Then you may have to fiddle around with database parameters and database performance tuning, because even a bad SQL developer or a user error or user writing a bad SQL, I mean, it all ends up in the database, and then it becomes the database DBA's problem anyway, right? Then you also have to help the developers with the SQL tuning or creating a SQL profile and things like that. So that is the traditional DBA. I mean, this is the work that we have been doing for many years now. When you move to the DBA 3.0 or 4.0, I mean, I don't know what the version number right now is, the modern DBA, the focus is the DBA. I mean, it's no longer you are sitting behind or behind the scenes. I mean, you are the central focus. because you are now becoming a data engineer, or your responsibility becomes more of making sure that the data is readily available, and you are responsible for architecting the systems, and within a budget, because in the cloud, I mean, the resources are plenty. I mean, you can provision something and forget about it. I mean, it's not like on-premises where you already spend the money, the capex, and it is all available for your consumption, whether you use it or not. I mean, it is not going to change any budgets or any expense differently. So in the cloud, I mean, it's not the case. If you provision something and you no longer need it, I mean, you have to decommission it. I mean, otherwise you are simply paying for that VM or that storage unnecessarily. So you have to be mindful of that. Then you have to architect the solutions with the right high availability, the right SLA, the DR architecture like RPO, RTO options, and then you all of that you need to architect. And unlike the on-prem, the DR testing is much easier in the cloud. I mean, you can easily do DR testing in the cloud. In the on-premises, I know many customers have at least once a year DR testing, but they never do it because of the complexities involved in DR testing. Then you also have security and data access control and other on-prem responsibilities like the application performance, developer assistance. I mean, all of that thing you still have to do in the cloud. And again, when I say modern DBA, cloud DBA, the responsibilities vary between clouds and whether it is IaaS or PaaS model that you move to the cloud. That also determines, I mean, the level of your involvement in administering the database. So again, in the Cloud DBA, what is different and what is new? So the way we do backups or backup retention, archiving, that is different in the cloud. Your connectivity, how the application connects to the database, and will be different. I mean, you may have to use wallets and stuff if you're on OCI, and I mean, then you might have encryption, transparent data encryption, TDE, things like that. And you have to look into the security outside the database. And you will have to look into the database provisioning, database patching, capacity planning, scaling, the Oracle licensing. The licensing is different outside OCI. I mean, AWS, Azure are authorized cloud environments. So the licensing is different there. And what new skills and what new you have to learn is the main thing would be the network, the cloud network and security. The cloud security are the major things that you need to learn when you move your databases to the cloud. Then there are new tools available. There are plenty of storage options, database deployment options available. Some operating system management is required. Again, the PaaS system. I mean, you are expanding your area, and I would say the OS management on the database servers should fall under the DBA's responsibility as well. Then VM provisioning, cloud CLI, I mean command line interface or application API, REST APIs, Terraform for automation, Ansible, all of that will come into picture. So it's learning new things. I mean, you will be learning new technologies, new tools, new programs, and everything. A lot of new stuff to learn in the cloud. And in summary, I mean, what is different is the task you repeat, the housekeeping task, the monitoring, the mundane task you do every day, like the space management and things like that. I mean, those tasks, the repeated tasks, are reduced drastically in the cloud. But you'll be spending more time on more strategy, application and business focus, security planning, again, monthly cost, and more importantly, data availability is the focus in the cloud. And what's not changed? I mean, the application support, the application security, the application tuning, schema management, user management, all of that, I mean, they remain the same because it is still an Oracle database you are managing in the cloud. So all of that, the application is not changing. I mean, you're just moving the application to have the backend database in the cloud. So yeah, or the application also in the cloud. But whatever the DBA you do for the application, that doesn't change. So that task is still applicable. And why am I emphasizing more on the cloud here? Why should I learn the cloud? I mean, this is the 2021 State of the Cloud report from Flexera. You can see that, I mean, pretty much 92% of the enterprises are using multi-cloud. I mean, they have multiple clouds. I mean, it doesn't mean that, I mean, they are running an Oracle database in the cloud, but they are using cloud. If they haven't migrated the Oracle database to the cloud, I mean, it is going to happen soon. They may not have Oracle databases. I mean, this is just the cloud enterprise report. I mean, this is not filtered to just Oracle here. Just want to clarify that here. And 7% of those people are using single public cloud. And look at the question on change from planned cloud usage in COVID-19. What we have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, 2021 is that the cloud acceleration or the cloud adoption acceleration changed quite a bit. People are adopting the cloud more openly now because they think that is more secure, and the agility is there and the flexibility is there. So the enterprises are adopting to the cloud faster than before the COVID era. So you can see here the green and the dark green. I mean, that's a majority of people are already on the cloud or planning to move to the cloud. So we have to get ahead of them. That's the thing. And in the public cloud, this is another interesting chart here. When you look at the public cloud, what do they use the public cloud for? The main purpose, again, this is also from the State of the Cloud, same report, 2021. Data warehouse is the major use for the public cloud, and people migrate to the cloud. The application that migrate to the cloud is data warehouse or database as a service, then container as a service, then again database as a service, NoSQL. So you look at the top four, it's all related to the database. The three of them are related to database, but the top two are relational database and data warehouse. So that's where when you so you can see that the enterprises are migrating databases and data to the cloud. So we have to get there. We have to learn the skill to be ahead of the game, or when these enterprises are ready to migrate their databases and applications. I mean, there'll be a lot of job opportunities coming up. So we have to skill up and be on the demand side. And where do you start learning, or how do you skill up? I would say you look at the fundamentals. I mean, these are all free training. I mean, especially OCI, either the entire subscription to OCI learn.oracle.com. That is free until December 31st. So if you are not aware of that, if you haven't made use of that opportunity, I would highly encourage you to register and subscribe to the learning subscriptions, like the cloud subscription, the database data management subscription. Just subscribe to that. I mean, once you subscribe, I mean, that subscription will be available for more than a year. Sorry. Even though the free the free certification, the free certification exams expire on December 31st. Excuse me. Sorry. the free certification exams expire on December 31st. But if you subscribe to the content, I mean, that content will be available for you for more than a year. So which is a good thing. So even if you're not planning to appear for the test, I mean, just subscribe to the content so you can learn Oracle Cloud for free of cost. I mean, all of the training and be an expert there. And Oracle has more than just the cloud. I mean, the database services, the autonomous database, the Direct cloud service, all of that available. So I would say more than the foundations. I mean, it'll be better for you to take a look at these two courses. I mean, the Cloud Database Services 2021, and these are all associated with the certification. I mean, if you want to prove to the world that, I mean, you know something, you can take the certification test also. But I wouldn't emphasize more on the certification side of it. But at least use the content to learn the cloud. Similar to OCI, I mean, on Azure and AWS, we have the Azure Fundamentals and AWS as Cloud Practitioner exam. And on the AWS side, I mean, since similar to OCI, I mean, there is at least the one database PaaS service available, the RDS. So it is good to look at the AWS Certified Database, that training as well. And GCP, I mean, Google Cloud Digital Leader, I mean, that's also free program available. The one good thing is, I mean, once you learn the foundation or the fundamentals of one cloud, I mean, you can relate to the other clouds. So it is pretty easy because every cloud, I mean, they follow the same architecture, I mean, same fundamentals. So you can apply that to any cloud. I mean, the terminologies may be different, but the region, the availability domain, the fault domain, I mean, all of that, I mean, they have a different terminology in each cloud, but they are all the same. I mean, the concept is the same across the clouds. So once you learn any one foundation, I mean, it will be easy for you to pick up the others if need to be. And as I mentioned earlier, OCI has this training free certification through December 31st. So that is available, but you can do the training. There are, I mean, on the left-hand side of the screen, what you see, that's the training module. There's a practice exam available, and you can register for the real exam, and the exam is free until December 31st. So even if you don't take the exam, the remaining content will be available for you for at least a year. So make use of that. I mean, this is all free on OCI. Similarly, on Azure also, if you go to this link here, I mean, AZ900, Microsoft, how to prepare for the exam, there is an online option that you can prepare that is free. You have hands-on lab and material available, videos and training materials available in Azure to learn Azure fundamentals. And AWS also, the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, that is free. I mean, you can see the exam review, training, technical documentation, all of that. I mean, you can see it's all free. But the test is not free, but everything else is free there. I mean, even on Azure also, the test is not free, but Azure has some programs where if you participate in their webinar training, I mean, you get a coupon to appear for the test. I think Amazon also has the same thing. And Cloud Digital Leader, Google Cloud, it's also free. Foundational training is free. So every cloud provider is providing free training to understand, to learn the cloud. So you can have a good start there. I think I got 20 more minutes. Okay, we're good. Time-wise, we are good. I'll cover this section also. Oracle database options in the cloud. Just quickly, I mean, just want to show you quickly. I mean, if you are new to the cloud or new to the cloud, Oracle database in the cloud, just want to give you an idea of what is possible in the cloud. So on OCI, I mean, you have multiple options. OCI, you can run the database on IaaS, infrastructure as a service, or you can do the PaaS service on OCI database cloud service, or Exa cloud service, or autonomous database. Then you also have the option to take the Exadata machine to the cloud data center, to the customer data center, and Oracle calls it Cloud at Customer. I mean, so you have all the interfaces that are available in the cloud in the customer data center. Then there are two authorized cloud environments. The cloud environments recognized by Oracle, they are AWS and Azure. On AWS, we have two options. The IaaS option is EC2, and RDS is the PaaS service or database as service. That's also there. Every other cloud, there is no PaaS service available or database as a service available, but you have IaaS or bare metal servers available in there. And Microsoft, Google. Many customers are moving to Google because they have other data related applications are in Google, so they take their Oracle database also to Google, even though it is not an authorized cloud environment. People most of the time I have seen customers provisioning bare metal services for license reasons there. Or you can have VMware on any of these clouds. If you are already running VMware on-prem, you can take the VMware as is to any of the clouds, including OCI. And quickly, one thing, OCI, whatever you on-prem database you have, you take the licenses with you to OCI, and the license count will behave the same. I mean, when you have two OCPUs, which is 4 vCPU, that is one enterprise edition license. That is the same on OCI. But whereas on AWS and Azure, you don't have the core factor, which means that you lose 50% of the license entitlement when you migrate to AWS or Azure in terms of the vCPU or the number of threads you can use. Just keep that in mind. And on OCI, as I mentioned earlier, we have multiple options on OCI. I mean, virtual machine, bare metal, Exadata machine. I mean, all of that is available on OCI. The virtual machine can be from anywhere from 1 OCPU to 24 OCPU. That is up to 48 vCPU. Or on a bare metal can be either a 36 OCPU or 52 OCPU, big, huge machines. Or you can go with Exadata in the cloud, Exadata cloud service. That can be either a quarter rack, half rack, or full rack. And full rack is 400 OCPUs, which is like 800 vCPUs. So that's huge. I mean, this gives a lot of consolidation opportunities if you want to migrate to Exadata or bare metal. A lot of consolidation opportunities are there. With OCI. And Oracle Autonomous Database is also available. Autonomous Database where the DBA doesn't have access to the operating system or doesn't have access to the sys or system or the container database in a shared autonomous database model. You have the data warehouse, the ATP, and the DBA get access to the pluggable database, and then you manage the pluggable database, the backups, the restore, the monitoring. I mean, all of that is pretty much automated, and Oracle takes care of most of that stuff. So Autonomous Database has its own use cases. We'll talk about that in my next session, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. I'll be getting more in depth into all the OCI services and then how to choose the right database service there. And you can also have database on OCI IaaS. And one differentiator with OCI IaaS is that, I mean, you can choose the flex model, you can choose OCPU, the number of OCPUs and memory you want. I mean, which is very flexible. This option is not available in any other cloud where you choose the number of CPU and the amount of memory. That's very flexible option on OCI. Amazon, even though it is EC2 or RDS, I mean, there is a lot of challenges and architecture options available on Amazon, and Amazon is improving the services day by day. The top diagram there, I mean, it just shows backup scoping to a different region, and for DR. using the backups without having a VM or anything running there. So you are not paying for the licenses or anything. That's the idea, I believe. So the cross-region automated backup, that's an option there. Or you can use the data guard to replicate the database, and then the data guard, active data guard can be used to open the database for read-only queries. Or if you want to go with the data guard on a different region, I mean that's also possible with Amazon RDS. I mean, there are complex architectures possible. And here is an architecture. This is the standard recommended architecture from AWS, showing high performance architecture. So this is designed primarily for very high I/O performance needed. When you're migrating from Exadata, for example, you could go with an architecture like that. I mean, it leverages the local or ephemeral SSD drives to take advantage of the high IOPS and avoid the network latency. And Amazon says, I mean, you can get up to 340,000 IOPS with this architecture. I mean, so it's not just moving the database to the cloud. I mean, you are going to experience, you are going to learn new ways to architect based on the business demand, and it can get very complex and very, very interesting. These architectures in the cloud. And similarly on Azure IaaS, I mean, there are multiple options available. One thing I like with Azure is, I mean, Azure has this constrained vCPU model shapes where you get the power, the network and the storage power of a higher CPU VM. But the CPU's numbers are disabled or turned off, and Oracle recognizes that for licensing purposes. So the constrained vCPU model is really good for Oracle workload where you need more memory and other I/O resources for your database workload, but you don't have enough licenses to run that big machine. So there are different architecture options available on Azure as well. This is an architecture which is showing how to use sharding and data guard on Azure together. I mean, sharding and you have sharding as well as data guard in the primary region, and you have the same sharding and data guard on the DR region or on a remote region for DR purposes. Also, I mean, this is a high-level generic diagram, but it might differ for each application. But I just want to show you, like, I mean, what is possible. I mean, the possibilities are endless. A lot of options available. And when you're migrating, we have a couple of customers migrating Exadata to Azure Cloud, and then the storage options are not there. I mean, with the native Azure storage. So there are some third-party providers like Silk or Azure NetApp files, and I mean, those solutions are available to satisfy the high throughput and IOPS demand for these databases. So there are a lot of options and architecture options available. There are a lot of learning opportunities available when you decide to migrate to the cloud. And if your management has not started thinking about the cloud, I think as a DBA, I mean, you have the responsibility to educate them and then show them the benefits of migrating the application to the cloud. It's flexible, a lot of architecture options. You are not paying for what you are not using, things like that. So I mean, get a meeting with your business leaders and the management, and make them understand. I mean, that's also as a DBA, I mean, our responsibility to make them understand, I mean, what is best for the company, what is the best available out there, which is going to benefit the application, the business, and personally you. So in closing, DBAs should play a key role in transforming organizations. I mean, I jumped ahead, but this is what the point I was talking earlier. You are the central focus of anything related to data. I mean, you are the data guardian. I mean, you protect data. You deliver the data when and where the data is needed. You are the stewards of data. So you have a bigger role than what you have on the on-prem DBA role. I mean, you have to be in the key focus. And DBAs need to stop thinking like maintenance workers. I mean, you are not maintenance. Your responsibility is not just doing patching and upgrades on the weekend or application upgrade on a weekend. I mean, that's not our job. I mean, that is our job, but that's not only our job. I mean, so we have to stop thinking like maintenance workers and engineers who make things operational. I mean, that is our responsibility on-prem, but I think we need to move toward like data scientists or data administrators. Then how do you get there? I mean, create your own learning path to become the modern DBA or cloud DBA. More strategy and less firefighting. I mean, let the cloud providers take care of the mundane tasks like space monitoring or the backups, the scaling. I mean, all of that. I mean, let the cloud providers take care of it, or let them worry about it. Let us do more strategy. Let us do more work. And let us get more closer to the business, deliver more business value. I mean, let's make ourselves value added so that the business, the management recognize the value of the DBA. So in the cloud, when you migrate the databases to the cloud, I mean, it gets more flexible, and only the boring repeated work is going away. Most of the value add work you are doing today, they will continue to be there, and you are going to be like more, you can add more value when the database and the application is in the cloud. And one more thing is I just did a search yesterday on the top 10 IT jobs, and database administrator job is still in the top 10. So that job is not going to go away anytime soon. So don't worry about it. I mean, the job is changing. I mean, the DBA job is changing. The DBA job 20 years back was different than today. So that's the evolution we are seeing. It's basically we just need to adapt to the change, the technology, and the flexibility available in the cloud. Happy learning, and get out and learn new stuff and implement new stuff, and migrate your databases to the cloud, or maybe bring cloud to the customer. I mean, either way, you have to adapt to the changing technologies and then move forward. So that's it. That's all I have for today. And here I'm showing a few of my social media handles and how to contact me. If there are any questions, I mean, I can answer the questions. And if you are watching this session, this presentation offline in a recorded session, and you have questions, you can reach out to me through Facebook or Twitter, or you can reach to me biju.thomas@gmail.com. And thank you very much. If there are any questions, I will take the questions now.
Thank you so much, Biju. Excellent session as always. Any questions from the public? Anyone has any question for Biju before we close it? Let's give a few seconds.
Yep.
Yep. Looks like there's no questions today. Thank you so much, Biju, again for your time. And for you is in the evening already. For us is early morning, starting the day here in Australia. Thank you so much to everyone that's participating and watching this session. Please remember to register to as many sessions you can. That way you'll be able to have access to the replays until December 30. And please take care and be safe on these pandemic times. Thank you so much, Biju.
Yep. Thank you, Francisco, for this opportunity. And we will see you all in a couple of weeks in my next session. Have a safe and happy weekend, and Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. Likewise. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cloud DB, shaping your new normal.